Because I'm in green, my mat should be darker, right? So I don't disappear in the mat. So I'll just lay my navy blue mat, which is smaller, on top of my extra large mat. Come here, Maxwell. You want to sit with me? Finally. Sit. Sit. You're such a good boy. Oh my goodness. You're so smart. You're like a human. So, hi, my name is Kelly, and this is Maxwell. We are going to do restorative yoga with the chicken, right? So today's class, we will do some specific arm stretches, and I'll also integrate or intersperse in the arm stretches hamstring relief stretches. Who doesn't need hamstring relief, right? So let's get started. I have some music in the background. And lower down, reach your arms overhead and stretch. Spread your fingers and then relax the shoulders, extend the legs out straight. Take a deep breath in through your nose and then exhale that out, sweeping the arms over to your sides. Place your right hand on your belly and your left hand on your heart, and take a moment to become present, to stop so that we can start. Let everything go, all of the to-dos you have, the excitement ahead on the weekend, potentially, let all that go and be present by tuning into your breath and then your placement on the mat, feeling the head, the heaviness of the head and the shoulders. Relax the shoulders intentionally. Relax the pelvis, the hips. Relaxing down each leg and feeling the body underneath the palms. Feeling the heart and then the slight rise of the belly as you inhale. And then exhale. Let's breathe in and out, intentionally guiding your breath 3 more times, just like that. Inhaling together. And then fully exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Feel the back pressing into the mat as you inhale, the lungs expanding and filling with air, and then fully exhale. Now open your eyes and bring your feet to the mat. Lift them up, your feet up, knees in, and rock from side to side. You can flex your feet and then point your toes. Good. Keep that rocking position going back and forth. Then extend out your right leg and keep the left knee in. I did the opposite. Pull that knee in to the chest for lower back stretch. Rotate the foot around, the ankle joint rotation, and then rotate the opposite direction. And now hold the knee with your right hand. Bring the knee across the body to the right and look over to the left. Reaching your left arm out straight, you can turn your palm up and look over across the floor. And then close your eyes and settle into that breath, your next breath. Relax the shoulders, the hip, the sides. Inhale and lift your knee up. And now just take the knee and using your hand to guide the leg, making a circle. So draw a circle with your kneecap, but use the hand guiding that rotation, externally rotating and then coming in, internal rotation. And now rotate the opposite direction. And just notice if you're feeling anything, any kinks or any stiffness or roughness in that rotation. That ball and socket joint of the femur being in the hip. All right, so pull that in and then extend your left leg out. Bring your right knee into your chest and hug that leg in towards you. And then start to rotate your foot around both directions. Smooth movement. Then using your left hand, bring the right knee across the body to the left. Reach the right arm over to the right. Keep your knee bent with the leg across and relax your shoulder on the mat. So if your shoulder lifts up, then start to lift your knee. I want you to have your knee over enough that your shoulder can remain on the floor. Reaching your arm out to the side, gaze across the floor and relax the shoulders as you exhale. Relax the pelvis, the hips on the next breath. Lift the knee and then rotate this leg around to the outside. So circling around, use your hand to guide the leg moving in one direction and then change the direction. Now place your feet on the floor, both palms on the floor, both palms. Tip your knees one direction and then the other direction. Or one side and then the other side. Lightening up, loosening up the hips, the pelvis, the legs, the knees and ankles. And then tip the knees over to one side so you can push yourself up to a seated position and sit up on a blanket. So you need a blanket supporting your body. So here, sitting up on the blanket, and you can make this even higher. If it's higher, the main thing is that you want your hips to be elevated so that your spine is neutral, right? So when you're sitting flat and your knees are up higher than your hip points, then the spine is not in a neutral position and it just becomes uncomfortable and can add stress to our practice. So the point of restorative yoga is to de-stress and restore. So props used to soften and to hold you up, support you. Inhale and reach your arms up. And then bring the arms to your sides. Turn your palms up. Bring your right arm underneath your left arm. So this is our first arm stretch of 6. Press the left elbow into the right elbow, like that. So my right arm is under the left, and then sweep the hands around. So sitting up tall, palms together, point your fingers up. Now elevate the arms, the triceps, or point the elbows forward. So we're stretching that space between the shoulder blades. The rhomboids, mainly right between the blades. So those muscles have a lot to do with or relate to your ability to lift your arms up overhead. So keeping those muscles flexible and mobile, or the arms mobile, because the muscles are flexible. So reaching the forearms forward more, just a little bit more. You're also feeling this in the back of the shoulders, the posterior deltoids, into the shoulder blades. So the serratus muscles also, along with the rhomboids, and then a little bit of the lats, the larger muscles that are below the shoulder, underneath the blades. All right, unwrap your arms and reach up. Look up, clasp your hands overhead, press the palms up, lifting the shoulders, so elevation of the shoulders, and then lower the shoulders, depression of the shoulders, elevation, and then depression of the shoulders, elevation. Now sweep the hands in front, palms forward. Reach those arms, spreading the blades apart again. Just like in Garudasana or eagle arms, eagle pose arms. Reach your hands behind. Pull your shoulders back, then bring your hands together behind you. So clasp your fingers, reach the knuckles towards the floor, and try to straighten the arms as much as you can and reach the knuckles down, palms together. Broaden through the chest, stretching across the clavicle bones on the right and the left, and then also the chest, the pectoral muscles, which often can pull on the shoulders and cause that hunched forward position. So super good stretch for your body. Frontal deltoids. Now start to reach the arms away from the back just a little bit more. Not overstretching, but just enough. Not enough to cause stress, right? So relax. Then release the hands, relax the shoulders, pick your shoulders up and roll them back. So here's your elevation, and then retraction of the shoulders, and then depression, and then when you bring the shoulders towards each other, protraction. Lift up, elevation, bring it back, retraction, lowering down, depression. Do that one more time. So pull it forward, protraction, lift up, elevation, bring it back, retraction, and then lower, depression. Good. All right, so now let's reach the arms to the side, opposite side, eagle arms. Bring your left arm underneath your right. Press your the upper elbow, the right elbow down into the left, the lower, and then circle your hands around. Lift up your elbows and reach your forearms forward. If you can't get your hands like that, just put the palms together. Some people also grab your thumb, but don't pull on that thumb joint. So reaching forward with the forearms, elevating the triceps. And just breathe here for enough time that the muscle can actually relax or release. not really a relaxation, a feeling, but the muscle will get to a point where it releases. Good, now unwind and let's reach up and counter that stretch. Reaching all the way up, lifting, turn your palms towards each other, palms together, clasp. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling. Release the shoulders down, away from your ears. And then sweep down behind you. One more time. So clasp the hands, reach the knuckles towards the floor. Broaden through the chest. Potentially get your palms together. Not necessary, but reaching the arms as straight as you can. And then move the knuckles away from you. So those pinky fingers reaching towards the ceiling. One, two, three. 3 arm stretch poses. Eagle arms, arms overhead, hands behind you, but then also moving through the 4 different positions of the shoulders. It's a good stretch for the shoulders. Now unclasp your hands and let's move off of your blanket. So 4 stretches. So let's do the 5th stretch in the shoulder stretch series. So I'm going to have you move your mat up to a wall. And we'll stay here also for leg stretches. So up to a wall. And I want you to come to put your body line up to the side. Kind of move your knees away. Kind of move your knees away. And then bring your hand behind you like that. So your shoulder is square to the side. Your hip is to the side. And then try to inch your knees towards the wall so that you get a little bit more of a stretch. Don't overstretch right here. You just want to hold, have your hand back so the front of your shoulder is stretching. Relax the shoulder down. You can just place your hand on the opposite hip and look forward, chin neutral. And breathe. Several breaths. You can do this standing or on your knees. Now walk your fingers up just a little bit if you can. If that's feeling too stressful, move your knees away from the wall. So feel your chest stretching, front of the shoulder. And then walk your hand down. Palm is facing away from you. And then turn the palm and roll the shoulder, pick the shoulder up and roll it back. So a couple of shoulder rolls right there. And then let's change sides. So walk it over. And then away from the wall just enough so that you can move your hand behind you. You can look back, and you want to look back and see that the arm is straight, so you're in alignment with the shoulder. Down here is okay, you're just not going to get as much of a benefit. Here's the other thing is, don't hyperextend the arm. My elbows are a little bit hyperflex mobile, but so I have to pay attention to that. Then you're just going to inch just a little bit closer. Press your hand into the wall, your fingertips, your hand, opposite hand on your hip. Move away if it's too close. This should feel like a stretch, but but not like you're forcing anything. Right, Maxwell? Maxwell, did you bring the 2 chickens in the room? All right, Kelly, focus, right? Not supposed to be distracted. Being present in your body. Present with your breath, with the stretch. Don't hold your breath and don't shallow breathe. Breathe in deeply. And breathe out. Now walk the hand up just a little bit and see how that feels. Walk the hand down all the way into your side. Then turn your palm facing in. All right, pick the shoulder up and roll it back. Just that one side. Left shoulder up and then back. And let's turn facing away from the wall. Move your blanket so your knees can place or can sit on the blanket. Knees hip width apart. We're going to thread the arm underneath you. It's called thread the needle. Reach the right arm out to the side. Just reach it to the side. Don't elevate higher than that. And then reach underneath and stretch through. Do that rotation a few times before we settle down, okay? Or settle into that pose. So reach side and then thread through and reach the fingertips. Do that again. Reach side and then thread through. Again. One more time. Thread through. Then set your shoulder down and your temple on the floor. Bring your left hand forward. So above the head, you can put your hand on the floor, set your fingers down. Looking across the floor, you can close your eyes and breathe. Be sure both toes, both feet are down. It may feel awkward. The right one may be trying to turn in just a bit, but try to get that straight, that leg straight, by sinking your glutes towards your heels. Make any adjustments that you need to if you're uncomfortable. Your knees or your shoulder. Maybe you want to pull the hand in just enough to get more comfortable. Start to slide the left hand in, press into the hand, lift up onto all fours. Let's cat-cow a few times. Lower your belly, your navel towards the floor, look forward, and then round your spine up into cat. Lower down, cow pose, or camel, and then round up, cat. One more time, lower down, and then round up. So spine neutral. We'll reach through underneath the body. Let's do that 4 times. So reach side first and then thread underneath. You can set your shoulder or tap the shoulder or just kind of reach your hand through. So warming up the spine and this rotation before we settle into the pose. Underneath, so I'm bending my elbow slightly to reach my arm and lowering my chest. Then reach, put your shoulder down and the temple on the floor. Then situate yourselves so that your hips are fine or comfortable and your feet are on the floor. So actually
lean your weight back into your heels or your glutes to heels. Not a whole lot, just, enough to energetically reach, and then your toes will come down. Then reach the right arm forward of your head. So I'm looking underneath my arm and across the floor. And relax. Then slide your hand and push off of the mat. And again, let's cat-cow a couple of times. So let's start with cat pose. Drop your head between the arms. Press the floor away, spreading the blades apart. There's your upper back stretch. Then lower your navel towards the floor, look forward. There's the front body stretch, your abs, the pelvis, the chest. Then round up, back body stretch. Tucking the pelvis slightly. Probably the only time you'll hear me say that word. Tuck, look forward. And then round up. And lower. Last one. Good. Now we're going to face the wall again. So sit on your mat. You're going to bring the legs up the wall. Place your blanket away from you so that your head can rest. Come down with your leg. Come down so your legs can go up the wall, just like I'm doing. So just come up to the wall so your body's to the side. Hopefully your elbows are on your mat comfortably. And then you'll just kind of roll down, hang out for a moment, check out the wall. Then lift your knees up, your legs up, and scoot like that. This is an inversion. It's an easier inversion. Not having to hold your body up over your head or above you. So here the weight is above you, but the benefit of this stretch or this pose, not really a stretch, well, it is for your hamstrings. But the benefit of this pose is leveling your hips. So the weight of your legs going down into the hip sockets, potentially leveling them. So my glutes are up to the baseboard. I have that kind of flexibility in my hamstrings. If you're shaking or if you don't have that flexibility in your hamstrings, you need to move away from the baseboard a couple of inches or maybe even many inches until you feel comfortable with your legs straight. This is the best way to stretch your hamstrings. So we did all 6 poses for the arms, the shoulders, the back, the chest. So now we're moving on to hamstrings specifically. So legs up, feet flat. Just let your feet angle the way they naturally angle and check that out. Are they the same or is one different than the other? Just making note. So that could be very telling of if you have an injury in your knee or you're feeling your knees when you're doing squats or walking or lunges. Your feet support you, so if there's something going on there with your ankles or your feet, then it can cause problems above in the joints, the knees, the hips, even the shoulders. So reach your fingers, both hands around the back of the right hamstring. And then I'm going to have you pull that leg in just a bit. So no need to use a strap, just use your fingers, pull that leg in, and you'll feel right where you feel the hamstrings start to stretch. That's where I want you to stop. So perfectly, that first part of the stretch was shoulders and arms, and now the second part is going to be about hamstrings. So 7 tips that I've learned in my practice for stretching hamstrings. Let your heel come to the wall and let's change sides. So sweep your hands around the back of the other hamstring and pull that leg in. So the first main point or tip is to have your spine neutral. Best way to stretch your hamstrings is on your back because your back is neutral here. So this is the healthiest way to stretch them. And then bring the heels back to the wall, both of them, and let's stay here for a few moments. So my hamstrings are flexible enough to come all the way up to the baseboard, and as I said, if you needed to move away from it, the point of that is that the second tip is you want to stretch the hamstrings moderately so that the muscles can release. Because if you just power into, these strong, deep hamstring poses to stretch over and over again, you may not ever find relief. So relief of tension by, number 1, spine neutral, and number 2, allowing or not having too deep of a stretch that your muscles can't release. Your hands are to the floor or just relax on the floor. Now if you're all the way up to the baseboard, I want you to come a little bit away from it. Maybe your head's on your blanket. That's nice. Slide your feet down so your knees are bent. Press into the knees right here, lower back. Little tension, lower back release. Now inch away so that your knees are 90 degrees. So scoot back, so kind of crawl your way back. And notice your knees, are they over your hips? So 90-degree angle at your hip. Bring your arms out like a T. And you're going to just walk your left foot out to the left, and then right, and then left, down the wall, down the wall, down the wall, all the way over to your side. So one hip is on top of the other. Your shoulder may lift up. If that happens, then walk your foot up so that you can get your shoulder down. But if you can get your legs one on top of the other with your shoulder on the opposite side on the floor, do that. Now look over to the right. So your knees are to the left, your arm is to the right. Or to relax even more, so get your foot, the lower leg foot and leg down so it rests on the floor. Make your chin pointing up or neutral chin, not turning at the cervical spine, not turning the head. This is stretching along the hip into your QL muscle, the quadratus lumborum, relieving any tension and stress right there in that very strong lumbar muscle. Now walk your feet up. Lower back on the floor. And then walk your feet over to the other side. Gradually, gradually, gradually. And then bring the lower leg all the way down, and maybe the top leg, you just stop at a certain point so you can keep your shoulders on the floor. But if you can, get your shoulder on the floor and both knees over to the side. Turn your gaze potentially over to the left. Feel that nice side stretch. Lower back stretch. Stretch along into the side of the glute or the hip and the leg. Bring your focus right there in the lower back, the hip. Then walk up. So a third tip for you, unrelated to our stretching, is strengthening the gluteus maximus muscles and hamstring muscles to relieve hamstring tension. Place your right ankle on your left knee and push your right knee away just a little bit right here for a moment. Left foot on the wall. That knee is again 90 degrees, the hip 90 degrees. And then just let your leg hang there. And if you put your elbow down, the right elbow, and place your hand on your thigh, you can kind of prop that up and relax for a moment. So related to strengthening the glutes and the hamstrings to relieve hamstring stress or tension is to not pay as much attention to the quads, strengthening the quads and the flexors, because the quads and the flexors get a whole lot of showtime or a whole lot of attention and strength. Even squats can tend to be more about the quadriceps and the flexors than your glutes and your hamstrings. So then with not strengthening them as much as you are, or at least paying as much attention to your glutes and hamstrings, the front of your body, the quads and hip flexors, learning how to stretch them correctly and keeping them stretched out well so that they don't pull on your hamstrings or pull on the hip. And lower back. All right, so let's change sides. Place your foot on the wall and lift the other one up. Place your ankle on the knee. Press your knee away for a moment and just check it out. Make sure your knee is right above your hip. And then place your hand underneath your thigh to balance that or support, and just kind of let it go for a moment. Relax your gaze, your jaw. Place the tongue in the palate of your mouth. Intentional. And then move the ankle off the knee. Nice job. Walk your feet over. So you're going to go onto your side. Go ahead and start rolling and rolling and rolling and push yourselves up to a seated position. So now we're going to stretch your quadriceps like I talked about for the health of your hamstrings specifically. Okay, so you can move your blanket out to the side like that. So make sure it's not too thick. And then come onto your belly. So the blanket's to the side. Bring your forearms to the mat. Put your forehead down. So my feet aren't necessarily trying to touch the wall, they just are. So move yourself up so that you're not touching the wall if you're close to it. And set your forehead down. Now slide your blanket so that you can place your knee, your right knee, or your left, whichever you're starting with. So put your knee on the blanket, right? So if you can, get your ankle on the blanket too. So knee and ankle on the blanket. Slide it down if you need to. So you're on the inside of your knee on the blanket, right? And then slide it up if you can so that your knee is 90 degrees and your hip is 90 degrees. Out to the side. Turn your head the direction first towards the direction of your knee. Again, your blanket should be thin. So if you have to unfold it so that it's thin, do that. So here, stretching the inner thigh, the leg adductors. Pick your head up, and maybe you can look the opposite direction of your knee and set your head down. Start to lift your head, slide your leg down, then extend the leg out straight again. You can put your chin down or put your forehead down. And then come up onto your forearms, like this, Sphinx pose. Press your forearms into the mat, claw the mat with your fingers like that. Pull your navel away from the mat. Press into the blades, and you want to spread your blades apart here. So protract. Shoulders back. So what can happen is you can tend to dump into your shoulders like that, right? Your head, and then press. That doesn't feel very good at all. So press, elevating depressing the shoulders down, protracting the shoulders, not pulling them forward necessarily, but spreading the blades apart by pressing into the forearms. Now lower it down and bring the forearm in front of your chest. Bend your right knee and reach around and grab your right foot. And you can set your chin down or your forehead down. So we're going to stay here for several breaths to allow the quadricep to stretch. So the other tip that I have for you as far as hamstrings is giving equal stretching time to your hamstrings as you do your calves, because your hamstrings connect to your calves and they can cause a problem. The calves can cause a problem in what's above. So I think we stretch the hamstrings a whole lot, but do we actually stretch the calf muscles enough? Gastrocnemius and soleus muscles. I'll post these tips below the video when we're done, so you can come back to them at any time, especially if you're suffering from hamstring tightness and tension. I do recall a time when I was into running and my hamstrings were super, super tight, so I remember that pretty well. And I felt like I needed to stretch after stretching. All of the tips that I'm giving you will serve you well if you intentionally do them maybe a couple of times in a week or maybe after activity. And eventually you may find relief. Maybe not immediately, but maybe immediately. Now let your foot go, and we're going to go to the other side. So half lizard, lizard pose. Not lizard. It's not a lizard. Frog. What animal is it? Half frog pose. Okay, so you're going to come down, put your forearm like this, and place the blanket out to the side. Put your knee over there. And I like to put my ankle in there also because then it's supported or it's cushioned. And then lower your body down and turn your head the direction of your knee. Stretching the inner thigh muscle gently. So notice this gentle stretch, which will allow the muscle to release. And then your hips, both of them, adjusting around the sacrum or the SI joint. And remember, if you're feeling discomfort in this position, bring your heel closer to your hamstring or slide your leg down. Now pick your head up and turn your head the opposite direction of your knee. I'm resting my head on my hands. You can also place your head on the floor. Just figure out what feels better. Find that place that you feel less stress. And intentionally relieving your body of that. Settle into your breathing. Feel your ribs up against the mat. As you inhale, pressing into the mat, and then as you exhale, drawing it. Inhale, expand, exhale, release. Breathe in, and breathe out. And start to lift your head and come onto your forearms as you slide the leg down and lower down. Let's stretch the quadriceps. Pick up or bring your left foot in, point your toes, reach around, grab your foot, and then put your chin down or your forehead down. So the back of the neck is straight. Several breaths, enough time to let the muscle relax and open or release. Start to lift your head, extend the leg out straight, and we're going to come to our back. So I'm going to turn all the way around, finishing with Shavasana. So come to your position on your mat. So you can lie down all the way. Place props underneath your knees or underneath your head. So I'm going to grab my pillow and place that underneath my knees and my head supported by the blanket, lowering down. And you can even tuck the blanket underneath your neck, right? Right there. Pick your shoulders up and set them down evenly. Hips on the floor, palms facing up. Bring your arms out away from your body so you've got space, feeling open, feeling that openness with your hands, palms facing up. Relax your heels on the surface, the knees, your hips, the lower back, to your shoulders, both arms, hands, elbows, shoulders. Relax the chest, the neck, the jaw. To fully relax, let the tongue drop away from the roof of your mouth. Relaxing the brow. Take a deep breath in. Bring in your focus to the mind's eye, the third eye, that space between the brow. And exhale. Breathe in deeply. And then fully exhale. Now allow your breathing to just happen without managing it. Begin to move your fingers and move your toes. Reach your arms up to the sky, the ceiling, and sweep your hands to your shoulders, crossing in front of the heart. Give yourself a gentle hug. Reach up and let's change the crossing. Reach for your shoulders. Give yourself that gentle hug. A little self-appreciation for practicing and taking care of your body. And then bring your feet onto the floor. Move anything out of the way. Palms on the mat and windshield wiper the knees side to side. And then roll over, knees to one side, roll to one side, and push up to a seated position and just sit up tall. Hands on the knees, close your eyes for a moment. Lifting up the head. Shoulders back.
Let's take a deep breath in together, inhaling through your nose. Open your mouth and release. Bring the palms together. Then the edge of the hands to the third eye, the mind's eye. Making that connection in gratitude and in thanks. The edge of the hands to the heart, bowing your chin. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate all that you have done this week with me. So I hope you have a great one. Whatever you're doing, enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you again. Take care. Bye.